So I fell in love with the sport through my primary school, sort of at the end of each school year. My school had a competition in, so it was dividing the class and what events they would be best in. And I got thrown into the high jump because I was the tallest. And then it was like the most excited I'd get each year when that competition was coming up and I'd realise I'd get to do athletics again. So yeah, that's where I first fell in love with the sport and first found the sport. I didn't really start training in the sport until the senior school. That's when I had to go to the Liverpool Harriers, train after school each night. My mum did everything, basically. We didn't have a car for her to ferry me around in, but we'd go a lot of places together, sort of on the bus, on National Express, on the train. We would have an adventure each time, and yeah, she was the one who never really missed a session until much later on in my career when I'd moved to France, and she never missed a competition. She'd only missed a handful of competitions to this day, so she was definitely a positive influence in my life. Don't think I was as appreciative of it then as I was now. It's just like, very childish mentality where your mum just is there, and I definitely took that for granted. I just thought that was a normal thing for a parent to do because she'd always give to others. But now when I realise the amount of time that she's given to me, I definitely admire her. Growing up in the 90s in Liverpool, it's like sort of pick your side. It's blue or red, and my side was red, and I would just put all the Liverpool men's team all over I think not on the walls, but we used to have this thing in our school where you put them on. You used to cover your own exercise books, and that's what I used to cover them in. So my mum recently found a bag of clothes where I had Liverpool shirts and a tiny Liverpool shirt I used to wear when I was 7 and 9. And it was Steven Gerrard, Lewis Garcia, Emil Heskey, Barros. I have all of them on the back of my shirts. I've met Steven Gerrard a couple of times now. I still find it mad that he knows who I am. Yeah, it's crazy. He was my biggest sporting inspiration when I was growing up. I remember the first time I met him was post 2012, and he was just saying well done.
Do you think you had a normal childhood? Was it possible to have one with all the training that you did?
Yeah, I guess I did. When I think childhood, I don't think of my teenage years when training sort of coincided with the growing up, but I didn't ever see it as something that I was missing out on in terms of outside of the sport. I just loved training so much that I didn't ever really get that FOMO of my friends going out. I dabbled in going out. I didn't ever not go out, but I balanced life quite well, I think, as a teenager. I think I was lucky enough, and not everybody has this, but I was lucky enough to see the benefits of me doing well, as opposed to me not doing well and being oh, that's probably worth it. I think there is a drop-off age, which I've spoken about, and I was really concerned about during COVID, where I was myself finding it really hard to train and to access facilities, and I was I don't know what the youth are going to do if they're already, got house parties or other interests, or even making money and having enough money to get clothes or do anything social. So I was really concerned that it's lack of facilities plus lack of motivation and lack of everything, and I was concerned that there was going to be a missed generation. But for me, when I was younger, I think getting to the Olympics was a big driver. Home Olympics was so important, and I think that's the tagline, isn't it? When you have a home champ, you inspire the next generation, and I was a generation being inspired in real time in 2012. 2012, I was actually really gutted because a lot of my friends went to a holiday, the first girls' holiday, and it was at Mallorca Rocks. And then I went to the Olympics, and I always say that I was really gutted at the time to not go, but when I look back on my life now, I've had so many different opportunities to go on girls' holidays, but I'd never get another chance to do a home Olympics. So that for me just made it worth it. You have time to do everything. Just what is your priority, what do you want out of life, and act accordingly after that, after you've asked yourself those two questions. My main interest was music. I loved music. I always have done. That's a big part of my life. Other than that, I can't really remember anything other than athletics. I think that took over my life. I didn't really care about schoolwork too much. I was a bit arrogant in that way, where I was like, I don't really need this because I know what I want to do. And teachers told me that wouldn't be the case, but it's turned out to be true, so I'm quite lucky. When I did 2012, that's when I realised that you could make a career out of my sport. When I finished 2012, I didn't understand how I was going to get there, because I was so far behind and off the pace, even though 2012 for me was such a huge achievement of just being there at 19 years old at the Olympics, our home Olympics. And then, it was just happened so strangely. I just added 200 points on for the next 2 years and ended up scoring 6.6. And then it was like, okay, that's a world-leading score. And then after that, I was just finding my feet with consistency. But I think once you score big, you realise that you're capable of doing it, but then it's really hard to then put it together when it matters. I knew Jess from 2009, when she had her big injury, and in 2012 in particular. She was somebody who I was just watching more than anything else. Like, she allowed me to be part of that whole 2 days. That was quite special. For everyone in the UK, and I was like behind the scenes, like watching how she dealt with it, watching what she did in between comps, and watching her on that victory lap on, when we get the heptathletes get together. And I think that was really important part of like, okay, that's how you do it, that's what's possible, that's something that hopefully, a lot of people are saying that I'm better than her at that age, hopefully I can like continue and be like that. And I think that was really important phase of my life, that I was just like learning about the sport without the pressures of the sport. She taught me a lot in different phases of her career as well, but I think at that stage it was mainly about how to conduct yourself. Denise has been with me there, giving me advice in her actions and words more than just what Jess did. She was there from 2012 all the way up until today, and she will always get praise from me how she's helped my career and shape my career and be there at the hardest points and give invaluable advice. It's I'm indebted to her. I think athletes need to be themselves. I think that's the most important phrase of that question. I don't think athletes should be forced to talk openly about mental health, because I think that can be draining in itself. But I don't think that athletes should feel like they need to keep it in if they need to get it out. I remember being where they allowed a lot of the young athletes to go to the stadium when it was getting constructed or built, and it was just like a building site. I remember asking where the start line would be and then just standing on it and like trying to imagine myself there, like really try and like see it in my own head first, and then like really imagine myself there. Zarnell
Hughes does that as well, doesn't he? He actually writes down the time that he wants to get in the 100 metres or the 200 metres.
That's mad. He's got it right like a couple of times, yeah.
He actually gets it right. So are you going to write down the number of points you're going to get in the Olympics?
I did that when I was younger. I don't do that anymore because it got to a point where it stopped working. It got to a point where it stopped working, but it did really work when I was younger.
I do that with my bank balance. I haven't quite hit it yet.
It's important in a way. It's a title I haven't won. It's a title I would like to have, but I know that saying that as a heptathlete, so much can go right, so much can go wrong, so much can happen on the day, so much can happen in the lead up, and I just really, really want to put out a good performance. And I think I get my best performances when I say that instead of thinking about the outcome. I would love to go to Rome, and I've been training so hard this season, I've been training so hard this winter. I'm feeling really motivated, probably more motivated than ever coming off the back of last year. And now I just want to put out good performances and feel like enjoy it. And yeah, I don't like to get too caught up in the outcome. So for me, I'm really excited. They're going to be the first time I'm going to be in this stadium. I've went to watch the Rome Diamond League in this stadium years and years ago. It's a beautiful stadium. The crowd's going to be amazing. The timetable is so great. Thank you, European Athletics, for starting the long jump at 1 p.m. Need to do this for heptathletes and decathletes because it's just it'll get the best performances out of us, so we get a nice little lie-in. So I'm really excited for the timetable. I'm really excited for the competition. I'm really excited to be in stadiums, full stadiums again, and yeah, it's going to set the summer up really well.